Test 1, 2. Check if you can hear this. It's usually no. It's good if it's on the stream. Yeah. Okay. It takes a bit. So I'm just gonna keep talking, and yeah. So you're hearing it. Okay. Can be that the sound is coming from something else, but you can understand it. You can hear it on the stream.
switch it on. I'm sorry for that. But I think in this room everybody can hear me. Probably it's a little different online-wise because we do have a lot of guests and a lot of members, hopefully, also on their screens. So good evening, everybody. Good evening to the guests, to the members, and also to our distinguished speaker and panelists. So we have a quite packed program, so to speak, tonight, and it's going to be a lot of interesting knowledge sharing, a lot of fun, and hopefully a great apéro. I'm sorry for the onliners. I have to disappoint you, but we're having a nice space here in the agency that is Web Republic, and I already wanted to thank Tom Hannon very much about allowing us to be here and to really enjoy ourselves with this wonderful seating and obviously with this great topic. So thank you so much, Tom. Appreciate it. So my name is Manfred Strobel, but way more important is Marc-André Schauwecker. He's also our president, and he's going to talk a little bit, hopefully not too long, a little bit about Samba, so that you all know that Samba is obviously not a dancing club, but it's an association that has some great history, also in marketing, by the way, and also in other areas. So why don't you come over and talk a little about Samba, Marc-André.
So yeah, I keep it very short. I'm Marc-André, and as you can see, we have a quick video for you that you know in 1 minute what Samba is. It's not working. Okay. Okay. Can you go? Okay. It opens, so I summarize it in shorter than a minute. So Samba stands for Swiss Association of MBAs. We connect alumni and students of the leading universities, and we have been able to win more than 4,500 members, mostly in Switzerland, but also in the US. And as you see here, we focus on digitalization, sustainability, diversity, equity, and inclusion, and also legal. I'm a lawyer, but this is just a minor topic. Then it's all about career and education. So all events should be educational, so you should learn something and grow your network and career. These are some of our partners and universities. And on the next slide, you see if it works. Doesn't work. Mega, can you press? So here you see some of our upcoming events. For example, the Investment Leaders Summit, then the Sustainable Leaders Summit. We do this every year. This year it's with Google. So today we have also Marco Kratik from Google. So it's great to have also collaboration with them. Today we are the second time already here at Web Republic. Thanks again, Tom, for the great collaboration. If you need a top marketing firm, I can highly recommend them. Then Digital Leaders Conference we had last month, and we'll do it next year. These are just some of our events, and would be great if you join another as well. And just that we are not just talking about these topics, we have created our own matching algorithm that suggests people to network during the event. So if you register for an event, you get like a recommendation with whom to network with similar interests, and also a virtual event solution we have created. And because we do events for you, we would like to know what you like about Samba, how can we improve. It would be great if you can take out your phones and just scan it and then give your feedback, and enjoy the evening. And a big thanks to Manfred. He's an amazing organizer also, and supporting and marketing expert. So thank you so much.
Always welcome. Always welcome. Thanks, Marc-André. Hope everybody has already scanned the code. Otherwise, I give you another 10 seconds, if not more. But anyway, I'm just using the time to introduce you a little bit to Tom. Tom, here we go. And also Marco. Is also here because before we do the panel discussion, we have obviously the man who is hosting this event tonight in his agency, you know, having a few words, so to speak, and also Marco giving us a speech, so to speak, eine Schweizer Auslegeordnung. I don't know how this is translated into English, but it's basically the landscape, so to speak, of AI in marketing. And that's what Mark is going to doing probably in 5 minutes. Let me talk a little bit about Tom, because Tom loves the water and everything associated to it, right? Hopefully I'm not mistaken. I guess he gets his best ideas somewhere on the surface of a lake or maybe on the sea, right? Okay, true, everything true. Now, one of his great ideas back then was starting Web Republic. And this was together with Tobias Zehnder, right, back in 2009, I guess. And well, I should say, somehow you're kind of a digital champion agency in Switzerland, but not only in Switzerland, but it's now becoming more and more international, I guess so. And Tom was the first Google employee in Switzerland and built up their business here. And you're Entrepreneur of the Year 2017, and there's probably a lot more than, you know, we can talk about with a glass of wine and so on and so forth. And then there is Marco, and Marco had been with a company that I admire really a lot, since its business has been around for a long time, and it's on everybody's MBA curriculum, right? It's Procter & Gamble. And when he left the firm, he and his team were accountable for P&G's e-commerce, if I'm not mistaken, right? And then he joined an even greater company that created a new name for searching the web, and it's called Google. And Marco has been with Google as an industry manager since December 2019, and he's the one that gives an intro speech today. And this is called Marketing in the AI Era. So, welcome, Marco. But Tom, you want to give a little bit of hello to the group? Sorry, you have no microphone, but you take just mine.
I take yours. So, first of all, thank you very much for this wonderful introduction, Manfred. And it's good also not to be on the water, but to be right here with all of you. Warm welcome to the Web Republic, and thank you a lot for coming here, and the Zamba team. It's good the way you also support in organizing this, so we're just a facilitator here with the location, but really the heart lifting, it's you guys and my facility team. And of course it is a topic that is very, very close and very dear to us. I think we always encounter new technologies which in certain ways disrupt the industry. The challenge, nevertheless, is to really understand with what technology you're going to go with. Should it have been the metaverse? You can look inside Paradeplatz, how that is right now being bashed a little bit. Or is it actually working with further-looking technology, AI, which is not something that has been around just since ChatGPT, but ChatGPT has created somewhat of a oh shit moment for many clients and people out there that were surprised what AI actually is capable of doing. So I think this is a super exciting topic, not only from the marketing point of view, but really understanding the opportunities that this technology holds, understanding some of its challenges as well. I think this is equally important. And yes, I'm very, very much looking forward to the panel. And of course, I'm very much looking forward to the apéro. So that is going to be upstairs, and I'm very much looking forward to have chats with you. Thank you, Manfred.
Clicker. Stefan, thank you so much. Yeah, what a pleasure to share with you some insights into what Manfred and Marc-André call the AI kitchen of Google. I just realized that my speaking time got cut by 5 minutes. I cannot do it in 5 minutes. I need 10 minutes, but I'm not over time. 10 minutes, actually. So, great, thank you. Talking about AI, today is actually a very special day for Google. You might have seen it. It's the 25th official birthday of the company. But I'm not worried about missing the birthday party, because I was told that the apero at Web Republic is at least as good. So looking forward to that. Now, if you might see it in a couple seconds on the next slide. It's coming. The question is always, why is AI so relevant for everyone? Why is everyone so excited about AI? It's because it's so widely applicable. Indeed, there hasn't been a technology for a long, long time that is applicable for every industry, for every department, no matter whether it's marketing, whether it's IT or logistics. It's relevant for all the different industry, and it's relevant basically for big corporations as well as startups. So it has been a while since we had a technology of this magnitude. Second of all, it's seen as a workforce enhancement. So people hope to be way more efficient, or maybe also effective, hopefully, in what they do. And the third one is they're going to be... It's coming? Ah, perfect. It's gone again. That's the online streaming. There we go. On the top right. Not here. Click on escape probably. Now, slideshow. So we only work with Google Docs, so it's not PowerPoint. Little challenge. And the third one, obviously, is operational efficiencies, and probably the most important one is time to market. So these are the three reasons why AI is seen as the third big shift. So as said, it has been a while since we had a technological change of this magnitude. So we had the internet, 1990. We had the mobile phone that came in 2007, especially with the iPhone. And now it's AI that keeps us busy, probably for the years to come. Now, poll time. Question to everyone. What do you think? Which industry has the highest Gen AI adoption rate in the US? Sorry, US, but it's probably applicable worldwide, but I only found the US numbers. Which industry? Medical. Gaming. Legal, law. Marketing. There we go. It's actually marketing. So in a 2023 survey, actually 37% of the people working in marketing and advertising, they said that they already used artificial intelligence, Gen AI actually, specifically for work-related tasks. Now, AI has a strong background in marketing, which is not surprising, especially if we look at the consumer journey. It has become very complex, and in fact, nowadays, 2/3 of the shoppers, they state that in a 2-day period, 2 days only, they're using over 5 channels for their shopping. That means it's becoming increasingly complex to reach consumers at the right point in time on the right platform. And that's why we have been using analytical and predictive AI for quite a while in trying to help advertisers navigate more easily through that high complexity of digital marketing landscape with ever more formats, ever more different channels. And yeah, that's a strong reason behind it. But now, you mentioned GPT before, there is this generative AI all of a sudden coming up. It created a big media attention this year for sure. Generative AI is a specific type of artificial intelligence. You probably all played around with it. It's able to create content such as image, video, text, but also audio, or it can even code. Gen AI basically is being trained on large data sets, and it learns to predict patterns and to realize what relationships are between data points. So I'm speaking from a non-technical point of view here. And then basically, once it has been trained, it can generate content that is similar but not identical to the data that it has been trained on. So it's truly opening a world of creativity out there. And, very important, it's simplifying complexity. Now, to give you a concrete example, you can ask ChatGPT, preferably you ask BART, which is the Google text-to-speech, or thank you very much, engine. For example, you can say, hey, look, give me a table comparing the brand Mammut in the US to its competitors. And it takes you it takes it 2 seconds and you get an overview of Mammut's different competitors, Patagonia, North Face, Origins, target audience, strengths and weaknesses. You say, okay, now make me a SWOT analysis. You get in 2 seconds strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. And it even adds you an extra with a key strategy. So business intelligence is taking a whole new turn with the presence of generative AI. Also, to make it very practical today, there is one specific use case that I wanted to show. It's virtual try-on. The fashion industry is actually in the process, and many big fashion retailers already implemented it. Virtual try-on, which addresses 2 issues. So first of all, I want to know how a specific cloth fits me, or at least someone with a comparable body type. And second of all, it addresses the issue of, well, not environmentally sustainable, but also not economically sustainable returns. So that's a big use case. And another one, for me, very exciting use case is universal translator. So universal translator is not only possible to, capable to translate video content and dub it, it's also capable to lip match the video. So it has a lip matching technology, and people are going to have a lip movement that seems completely natural and seamless to the language that it has been translated. Just to give you 2 examples of what Gen AI is capable of. Now you might wonder, and I also saw it in some questions, hey, guys, keep it practical, we don't want to see theory. This is a video where you see how Gen AI is actually rolled out as we speak in many countries. It has been rolled out already. In some countries it's to come. How Gen AI helps marketing practitioners in a Google Ads workflow to make ads more powerful.
So's a cat.
Food. Good for your cat.
Buena para el planeta.
So I hope this gives you an idea how Gen AI can really help to improve that ad excellence out there. Now, I tried to put together a CMO AI readiness checklist with some bullets that are, from our point of view, really, really important. So the first one, you gotta focus on the right data foundation. And Manfred, he shared an article with me earlier today. It's not just about the AI, it's a lot about the data, because AI at the end of the day is as good as the data input as it gets. And in the article, it said that actually many companies are investing 15 to 30% more into the data stack to make sure that they have the right foundation for these models in place. The second one, don't get lost in a jungle of AI tools out there. There is so many different tools. Really focus on the marketing objective and find those use cases that address your marketing objective the most. The third one, practice budget and channel agility. What do I mean about it? It's such a fast-changing ecosystem out there. If you want to capture consumer demands as good as possible in real time, you got to be agile. You got to make sure that you have processes in place to react quickly on it. And the fourth one, AI at the end of the day is your competitive advantage. So make sure you become a champion in experimentation to find now, today, or in the days to come, tomorrow you start at latest, to find those use cases that really help you and that make you that help you differentiating in the market. And the fifth one, probably the entire ecosystem needs to involve around you. So you're not going to make the journey alone. None of us, not even Google, none of us really. It's you're dependent on a partner ecosystem. So partner up together, involve your media agency, involve your creative agency to make sure that you're strong together. And at the end of the day, don't forget, you're not competing with the AI, you're competing with marketers that are using the AI. So with this, thank you very much, and over to the panel discussion.
Well, if there is questions to Marco specifically, why not now? If there is anybody having a certain question, up to 2 questions maybe.
How do you see potential IP infringement by having generative IA applied?
That's a very good question. I'm not a lawyer. There's other lawyers in the room. So it's very important. There is different Gen AI tools out there. So for example, BART or ChatGPT, they are non-proprietary. There is a lot of legal concerns around it if you use that for a business purpose. So we really recommend using, for example, BART for ideation, for brainstorming, ideas creation. But it can hallucinate. There's a lot of, you don't have the guarantee for a copyright infringement, whatever. So there's a lot of reasons why not to use it for a business purpose. Then there is applications, for example, in the Google Cloud, it's called Vertex AI, which is an ecosystem that guarantees that the data you're providing to those systems actually are only helping your use cases. So for example, if you provide data, so first of all, don't provide PII data with BART or ChatGPT because you don't know what's going to happen with it behind it. So that's a problem. But if you, in a closed environment like Vertex AI, you can share your data. You have a trained model, but everything you teach it stays within your ecosystem. And everything it creates has basically a copyright protection for you, so you don't have to worry about that stuff. So be very careful with which product you use for which use case. And also to be transparent, this is a legal playground at the time. So there's a lot of open questions that haven't been answered yet. And yeah, I don't want to lean too far on the legal side. Did that answer it?
It gives a view to it. I think the issue is not yet solved.
Yeah.
As everything is evolving. I mean, technology is evolving, regulatory is evolving. Companies, I think, are also now hooking up to say, like, hey, we need a policy about how to use ChatGPT forward and all this. But I think we will see what the future brings. I just saw in the news that certain legal cases now are coming up because people get concerned and people try out for sure.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. Jochen?
What's the differentiator for, let's say, Google in the market? Is it more on the data side? Is it on the training algorithm side? So how do you get out? Because there are a lot of offerings now in the market and more are coming up. So how do you keep ahead of the pack yourself?
I would say the differentiation is a moving USP. But right now, at the time, a big differentiator is that Google can offer solutions where it's PII safe, where you have copyright protection behind it, where you can work in a safe to use environment, basically. So you don't want to use, I'm not going to call names, but there's a lot of free and open AI solutions that are definitely not applicable, or shouldn't be applicable for sensitive information, for generating content that you're going to use for business purposes. So that's a thing that we offer, a business suite that is basically ready for business use. I think that's one big differentiator out there. And another one, you might see in the next days, who of you is using Google Workspace? Ha! Yeah, there's some headroom. So for example, in Google Workspace, we're about to launch Duet AI, which is a complete assistant. So you can say, hey, you have access to my emails and to my Google Drive documents, and within seconds you can create a presentation about tomorrow's quarterly meeting or whatever. So there's a lot. I would say speed to market is definitely helpful at the time. What? Yeah.
we get to this in a minute, but thanks thanks for the heads up on that. So very last question, number 3. Yes, please. Yes, please.
Yeah, just a question regarding the copyrights, right? So you show the amazing advertising where I can create my content. How basically I can deal with Google or with like OpenAI in terms of who is what, right? So in terms of copyright the content that will be what is the borderline.
I'm looking to Andre, to Marc-André. So what we are told at the time is if you create an image, for example, in Vertex AI, which is a paid AI stack out there, then basically you have all the rights to do with it whatever you can. So, but this is a very open legal discussion, so I'm probably not the right person to ask this, to be very honest with you.
So poor Marco, we actually got him into a legal discussion, and yeah, I help him to sneak out of this. So thank you so much, Marco, for this, giving us a landscape on AI and obviously also Google. Then I'd say let's proceed with our panel. It probably takes a minute or two till we have sorted out our chairs, but I'm just a talker right now and trying to entertain you a little bit, but we're gonna start pretty soon with the lady and the man coming up on stage. Patricia? So are we having enough? Yeah, why not? Wherever you like, Thomas, wherever you like. That's fine. Well, I think I could already start, and obviously it's often told, but it's from the bottom of my heart that we start with the lady. So this is Patricia Kastner, and when you Google Patricia, you immediately get the impression that this lady loves real estate quite a bit, right? And when I met her, she told me her beautiful secret: renovating old houses, right? Is that correct? So okay, it's no longer a secret, but anyway. And one of her projects, and I'm kind of promoting this right now, one of her projects is the Ermatinger Hof, a business park including a hotel right next to the Bodensee. And Patricia has always has also this wonderful Bavarian heritage, right? That's where we met, you know, because of our dialect, so to speak. But moved to Silicon Valley, where she started the ContentSurf group. And after extending this software company internationally, she's now here with another baby called Stevie, right? And this is precisely Stevie.cloud with AI embedded. And so, welcome, Patricia. Why not clapping your hands? I already talked about Tom, so I'm sorry I have no additional news about you. And so I'm going to continue with Thomas. Thomas Schwetje is, well, I should say Thomas and I went to a study trip, right? Some years ago, and I now recall clearly what he learned in Silicon Valley, how to reshape a company into offering something new and exciting, retail media, which we basically share as a passion, you and me. I admire what Thomas has been doing in that space, and hence he got honored as marketing thought leader at the Markenkongress 2023 here in Zurich. And Thomas got promoted to head of digital and customer and is a member of the executive committee at Coop. By the way, and may I say that, by the way, when you get a chance, please talk to Thomas about fine wine, because I know that in a certain interview you once gave, you recommended the Quattro Mani, a very Swiss legend red wine, and I think you kind of like it, right? So anyway, that's a good recommendation, okay. I guess. Then Marco, just wave your hand. You know, everybody knows Marco. Markus Buchele, I'm sorry, Markus. I met Markus back then when he was CEO and co-founder of LikeMac, and I was on their stage talking a little bit about native advertising. You remember, a couple of years ago, he was dealing with online marketing, content as a service, video production, and influencer marketing at that time. And they sold this company, I guess, in 2018, right? And Markus went on a new career track with Helvetia Insurance, is now their head of marketing and communications. And to me, it seems like we share the same passion, being in the mountains from time to time, right? And enjoying the altitudes. I'm sure he gets high up with these use cases on AI. So welcome, Markus.
Thank you.
Mirko. Here we have Mirko Hecker. Well, Mirko is quite a talker and certainly has to be, because he represents, as lead Switzerland and head of partnerships, a very important entertainment touchpoint called TikTok. I learned from you, call it entertainment and don't call it, but you can allude to that, right?
Worked already, good.
So, and please don't call the Chinese social media, please don't call it the Chinese social media, because I learned that this is no longer a Chinese company. It's basically an international one. And I met Mirko over some beers, and I'm sure we could have, spent the whole evening talking about watches, especially the mechanical ones, right?
Absolutely.
So, welcome, Mirko.
Thank you.
Dorian Sells, there is awesome, companies like Nemix and Local.ch that you probably all know. Dorian is the co-founder and CEO of Squirro, and Squirro is all about data. Turning data into actionable insights is one of your important claims. And Dorian is an entrepreneur. Yes, that's what I just told you with Nemix and Local.ch. And he's one of the 100 digital shapers in Switzerland. Wow. Besides that, I guess he loves art and devotes a fair amount of time to also, I guess, politics, right? At least I read something about it. Welcome, Dorian. Welcome.
Thank you.
So, I think let's get started. And I learned from Tom that you guys at Web Republic started with AI way back. You told me like 10 years back already. Is that true?
Well, I mean, we already worked obviously with Google 10 years ago, and AI and the whole kind of like ad tech infrastructure also of Google already is and has been an important part. So I think every agency working in that field, or even clients that set up their own campaigns, have had touch points with AI. So it's not something that a few months ago was incredibly revolutionary to us, that will totally destroy our world. But actually it gave us a much better perspective on what is actually happening. So yes, it definitely was an advantage to already be in touch with that technology early on in the game.
And now you have what you told me already, an AI suite, basically.
Yeah,
okay.
yeah, exactly. So obviously marketing is that what we do, and the claim for our clients, and the journey that we are on to chase efficiency, make the most out of clients' budgets. That is a never-ending story. Obviously utilizing AI in better understanding the performance of the digital channels, of the user, including predictive analytics, and all of those elements basically help us to create our own AI suite, we deploy for our clients. Yeah.
I guess this is something you're still working on, Patricia, right? On the suite, but it's still a suite AI implementation in what you're doing, right?
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit more about that.
So it's funny because, you know, I was in Silicon Valley and I'm a little bit a dinosaur in the software marketing area. I think I have it. Oh, yeah. Just take me louder. But you hear me, right? Yeah. Thank you. So I'm this dinosaur in this marketing software area, and 5 years ago, 2018, all asked me, what are you doing in AI? And I was looking for business cases in AI. For the marketing, and I think at that time there was not really the cases, right? Because we've heard now generic AI. So the Gen AI really changed the game, right? And if I look back 5 years ago, I wouldn't have imagined what we have by now, right? So it's a revolution, right, for marketing, and especially when I founded Stevie Cloud. This is my newest company. I just have to explain it a little bit. It's about campaign management for smaller companies, because usually when you want to do some campaigns for Google and Facebook, you have lots of issues with technical stuff. You're not creative enough, so you have a lot of barriers, right? And usually agencies are a little bit expensive for the smaller companies, right? So. True. That's why usually the smaller companies don't do marketing, but social media is so important for them, right, to reach their customers. So this was my vision, for everybody, the smaller companies, to have a tool that they can do it just by watching TV. They can make their own campaigns on the next day they are live. And for me, it was so difficult how I can help these guys in the creative process, right? Because usually when you're sitting in front of the TV, you're not so creative. So, and we made templates, right, for the industries, and just that they don't have to think so much anymore, just get the best practice templates. But then AI came, and this changed the world of Stevie.cloud totally. Because now you just get 2 questions. What is your website? What is your product? And optional, what do you want to mention, by the way? So with 2-3 questions, the whole campaign is produced, right, in the background. And you know, before, it was a huge creative process. You're creating 50 content pieces, right, in different, so the description, how long, it's all produced, right? And just you look and say, okay, done. And I think this is just why I'm always so excited about AI. You know, I love marketing, and I love the change. What we are in a revolutionary world now for marketing.
So this is the experience basically in a startup company,
yes.
And here we have Markus sitting, obviously in a much larger company, and I guess there has been obstacles, so to speak, on your way. On you know, some of the use cases. So tell us a little bit more about, you know, what's a case that Helvetia or you has brought up, and you know, what are some of the challenges on that path?
So for us, the good thing was that with insurance data and also AI, machine learning models have always been used for pricing. So there was already like a basis, but now more and more we see it in the interaction with customers. So one thing is that you just mentioned.
Now you're online.
Okay. Oh, you hear me better now. Is it okay? Do you hear me? Okay. So now we more and more also use AI, and especially Gen AI in the interaction with our customers. So one thing that caught our attention was, of course, as for you guys probably as well, when ChatGPT launched, we saw it as a big opportunity. Could we maybe be the first insurance company internationally that uses ChatGPT in interacting with their clients? And that's what we did. And obviously, as you can imagine, insurance, they are highly risk averse. So the first thing we had has been the lawyers. We can't do this is too risky. What if there is a wrong answer? So we knew if we want to be the first ones, we need to be fast. So we kind of made an agreement in the end that we say our chatbot, which initially was just like a task bot. So you had like a question, then you had like predefined answers, and suddenly, as you know, ChatGPT, it actually makes awesome work. So we labeled it as an experiment towards our customers. So they knew there might be a risk involved if you use it. Please cross-check this answer, but this answer is very fast. And the source where we took this data from was only our website. So we kind of knew the content on the website was already checked, so it is fact-based, but still, as we know, sometimes the answers are wrong, but they shouldn't be totally wrong because it doesn't look for answers in the whole internet, so just on our website. And that's what we launched, I think it was around February, actually. Made the headlines as the first publicly traded insurance company in the world. And now we just made the decision to adopt it everywhere. Also our task bots get equipped with Gen AI, large language model capabilities. And yeah, we really hope that we can serve our customers better 24/7. And yeah, hopefully also revolutionize the insurance industry.
So as a large company in the insurance business, you're probably one of the forerunners, so to speak, in doing this. So we talked about a large company now we're getting into Squirrel. So what is Squirrel, Dorian? Please tell us a little bit about what you guys are doing.
We have a field day, but first we're going to do the microphone test, the Reagan way. In 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 seconds, we're going to bomb the USSR. Remember that one? That's how he once introduced himself in Berlin in the mid-80s. And there was a hot microphone, and he unfortunately nearly triggered World War III at the time. Now, it seems that the microphone works. So what are we doing about, right? You heard, my team and I, we built local.ch. Most of you probably have used it. I handed that over about 10 years plus, yeah, more, 14 years ago. And with that, we have acquired a lot of experience about search. And what we now do is we merge that with large language models. What you do in a self-made manner, we do at scale. I have a flyer here, if somebody's interested. We can do what you do literally in 30 seconds, not 30 seconds, but 30 minutes. For any website that you essentially can chat with a website, step one. Step two is you do that with your company data. Now, the tough stuff is this, right? A large language model is like a technological merveille. C'est une merveille technologique. It's a technological marvel, right? The issue is it has 2 or 3 core elements that don't work well. It hallucinates. It does it predominantly only on public data. And it has an utter disregard for enterprise security, which makes it largely unusable, say, within a company. And I have never seen that going so fast with the dominant design theory. Some of you might know that. Water flows up, down, that's a dominant design, and so it happens to be in this space. So what you do is a bit like what happened 30 years ago with databases. Every one of us is using a CRM system, Salesforce or Oracle or whatever. Nobody of us cares what the underlying database is, as an example, Oracle or whatever other database. And you have an entire layer of application technology on top, which makes the database usable. And we believe very much that's going to be the exact same thing with large language models, because you will need an entire scaffolding. Think of it like an airline engine. That is a wonderful thing, but you need a whole airframe to take you from, say, Zurich to New York. That's the same like with a database. You need the whole scaffolding to make a database usable. And that's what we do at scale. So with GPT, we have launched the first true Swiss version. Not somebody else claims to have a Swiss one, but we have the first true Swiss version of doing that at scale with, chat to your own website literally in 30 minutes, or do that at scale with your company data in a secure fashion. That is, that you take your own data, that you use the skills we have acquired over the past 12 years in how to manage large indexes over time. You're going to struggle with that. It's actually fiendishly difficult to run an index over time, which is a prerequisite for any such application. And when you have managed all that, you also need to make sure, especially in enterprise context, that I'm allowed to see it maybe, Marcus is maybe allowed to see it, but maybe Thomas isn't allowed to see it. This whole enterprise security stuff. And that's what we do, and yes indeed, for the marketing piece, the very personal anecdote to finish this is, we often receive RFPs, like many of you, or say questionnaires from the Forresters and Gartners of this world. Lengthy RFP questionnaires, 80, 100, 200 questions. Then you send that to some junior that goes painstakingly through internal documentation across 5 silos. Who has made that experience? I did that experience, and I'm sure many of you too. And we have completely abolished this. We simply serve the question in an Excel upload format, and I get a full batch of actual relevant evidence-based answers on our content back. And this was for me an eye-opening moment for marketing folks. I have not touched the original content anymore. Goodbye websites, but we're going to expand on that.
That was quite interesting. That is also already going to my next couple of questions that talk a little bit about the future. I mean, you brought us already some bits and pieces of the future, but it's already up and running now, right?
Correct.
What's up and running in the space of retail? Because you're heading up Coop in digital and customer. Thomas, please tell us a little bit about your applications.
Well, as Tom said, I mean, we've been using AI or classical AI for years with recommendation engines and so on, especially in predictions, right? Any kind of prediction, be it sales-based ordering or whatever, it's all about predictions there. And with generative AI, obviously there are new use cases which we can do. This is chatbots or different things. We always have legal issues. We have issues of data privacy, which belong to us, as I guess any other company we have. And we are now currently running out several use cases, just trying out things. One thing we did is, for example, product text for online shops. So you have the product data and you automate the product text, right? Which has in the past been very painful, very expensive to do, and that increases efficiency on doing that extremely. Another thing we did is, but that was a learning case for us, was the upcoming Christmas campaign. My head of advertising actually created that herself. We had an idea, and then she did it with ChatGPT on how to get inspirations on how to improve creative ideas. Right? In the end, we always give it to an agency, and they do the real creative stuff. But it helps you in briefing agencies. It helps you with Mid-Journey if you can give the pictures of the moods which you have in mind and so on. So we did that, even lyrics for music, where you have an idea and you can ask ChatGPT, tell me other English words in which I can express my emotions, for example. But that was for a learning case for us. But what it showed us in any case, and that is generative AI will increase marketing efficiency by far, a lot. And what does that mean? That means I believe classical advertising agencies, probably not the digital ones, but classical advertising agencies, creative agencies, they'll have a problem on the business models, because that is where so far they've earned the money. They didn't earn the money with the creative idea, but with the operations behind. And if there's a lot of more efficiency, that has big trouble on the business model, right? So I believe we will have new business models. We will need to have new business models on the creative agency side. What generative AI will, in my opinion, never be, it will never help me differentiating in the market. And I mean, marketing is about differentiating. It's not about efficiency. Marketing is about differentiating. And if anybody can use generative AI, whatever you get out will never be differentiating. So the real differentiating idea, real creativity, is what will be extremely important in marketing in the future. And this is why I say creative agencies there's still reason for them being, but they need a new business model. We, as advertisers, have to pay for the creative idea and not for the doing all the other work, because that becomes more efficient. But if I want to differentiate in the market, it's not going to happen with AI. For the moment, Marco, you said you can differentiate now. For the moment, you can because you're faster than others. But take half a year, 1 year, 2 years in time, anybody will have access to the same tools. There's no differentiation.
By the way, when you talk about differentiation, will AI also strengthen the upper funnel, so to speak, all the branding work, and a little bit lesser the lower funnel? Because I hear this somehow.
Well, anybody will have the same lower funnel. So you have to. So that is why I believe branding becomes more important. Because you can't differentiate in the lower funnel anymore.
Right. Okay. So how does TikTok play a role in that game? What are your take? What is your take on that?
First of all, I'm really glad that I could sign your words like 100%, right? And you are from the, let's say, traditional advertiser side, and I'm now from the tech side, right? So artificial intelligence is the core of the TikTok product. So the algorithm is nothing else than AI. What does the algorithm? The algorithm, anyone of you who is on TikTok, the algorithm learns what you like, what entertains you. And he gives you the next, the video the algorithm provides you, the next will be the most entertaining video for you right now. This is what the algorithm learns. So this is why some people say, it's very addictive. The difference between social graphs in normal social media and content graphs that we use now in TikTok is that the algorithm does not focus on who you are following and then providing you content of your peers that had lunch last night and ate pizza or whatever, but of content creators that he thinks they are producing content that you like. And this is how AI shapes our whole product, one side of our product. The other side is exactly what you said, and this is the creative factor of the platform. We need the creativity of the users to do entertaining content. And entertaining is differentiating heavily people. Like, I like maybe sports and comedy, you like arts and food or cooking or recipes or whatever. And gets entertained by this. So how do we differentiate in the future with the help of AI? And we still need to produce content that is entertaining. Whether it's be on website and text or videos or songs or whatever, we still need, in my opinion, human intelligence, at least for the next 5 years. I'm not daring to look ahead like more than 5 or 10 years, but at least for the next 5 years. So I'm very optimistic that AI will, as Thomas said, give us much, because it's so efficient, give us much more time to be creative. And I'm not afraid that AI at some point will kill us. But when we are not creative, it will bore us to death. So this is how I see the whole discussion.
I have a question targeted to the ecosystem, so to speak, because you guys, some more, others a little bit less, have partners that you work with, either on the delivery side or on the supply side or on the agency side, or the whole partnership, so to speak. Does it also create different structures in your partnership? What are the requirements and so on and so forth? Can we talk about your business partners for a moment? Because it seems like there is a couple of, as I said, initially forerunners here, but what about your system that you work in? Plus maybe also colleagues and so on and so forth. Are there any obstacles that came up or is already coming up? Would you or Patricia allude about that?
Yeah, sure. So I think important point that was already mentioned before, to really utilize this kind of technology, you need to have data in a structured way. So you really need to think about, first of all, do your homework to have a well-structured data lake, that you actually get let's call it, an output that makes sense, that also is actually of added value to the user or to the client, right? So it's one of those topics. Before you run, you need to walk, and you need to do some fundamentals first. And I think doing fundamentals first is also somewhat understanding what does this technology actually require, that it delivers an output that you desire, right? And this is I think still one of those topics that is not being addressed enough in conjunction with that technology, that clients really need to understand that they need to invest into the technology to create a data lake, not a data puddle and a little bit of data here, there, and there. That is just, I think, decremental, right? So
when you work on the next pitch, is there prompters on it in the presentation? How many prompters? How much AI? How much partnership and so on and so forth you need? Because right now I guess it's pretty traditional still, right?
Absolutely. I mean, it's if we think about AI, and that's why we basically take the angle of how can we be more efficient? How can we be more efficient also on the advertising spend, right? So topics which does not require a huge amount of infrastructure like a large language model, right? So this is a little bit the angle that we're coming from, but I think. This is going to be obviously a technology which is not only here to stay, it's been around for quite some while, but it actually will trigger many clients to prioritize the importance of the topic to have a well-structured data lake. And this is I think something that is super important. So to my point of first walk, then run, I think this is an investment that is important. It's an investment into the future. It doesn't matter if it's having dynamic content, implementing generative AI, and just making smarter decisions, and also creating a more relevant communication to the clients. So this is something that is something that still is, I think, probably 70% in the Swiss digital landscape that has not put enough focus on this very topic yet.
So when you talk about the data layer, you also talk about taxonomy and all these kind of structuring type of things, right?
Structuring, but generally, asking yourself, where does the data that you aggregate actually ends up? Is it ending up with an agency? Is it ending up with a third party? Do you have your own ad tech infrastructure and manage all the touch points out of one centralized system? Or do you run all kinds of different systems all over the place because you just are lacking the understanding, right?
Who wants to talk about partners, ecosystem, the business you're in, and the pressure it puts on your business partners, so to speak? Anybody?
But it's a matter of, you always ask the question yourself. how much will I be doing in-house and how much give I outside. We, for example, do most of it in-house because we believe that we hope it's going to be a competitive advantage in the future. That's why we have invested over the last 10 years in our marketing tech stack, which is pretty good. We started with the data, put all into one big data lake, and if you believe it's going to be a competitive advantage in marketing, you usually don't outsource competitive advantages. So that does not mean that we don't work together with agencies, but it's a common understanding with us that whatever we can do on the technical side is going to be in-house. But I mean, to be honest, you have to be able to afford to. Fortunately, we are, because it's not that cheap. I know that. Can talk about the costs as well, but we believe it's vital for our business in the future.
I would, sorry, if I may add something, I would slightly disagree a little bit because traditional advertisers outsourced their competitive advantage a lot to agencies in the past, especially when it comes to media plans and so on. Now what we are seeing is that we have to pay attention that marketing is not all about data, right? There was a period where we thought, okay, we can measure now everything, and we were like kind of data drunk, and we found out, okay, we can maybe measure everything, but what we measure, right, bad data in means bad results out. So what we are seeing right now at TikTok especially is that all the data-driven parts of marketing, for example, target media plans, right? Targeting people. This is being insourced heavily by clients. The bigger the companies, the sooner they will insource this business because they can do it on their own. Agents are taking out of the game right now.
Yeah.
Same.
Actually, I have a déjà vu. Some of you, I'm a middle-aged white man, have been around in the mid-90s. I remember then when we built Namex, we went to UBS and told them, you need a website. And they told us, no, we don't need a website. Money is trust. People will come to one of our branches. We know how that story ended. And what they then did, once they realized, oh, bloody hell, we need a website, they started to build actually a content management system. Mm-hmm. By the way, like many mid to large size companies. And UBS, literally, I don't know if anyone of UBS is here because it's 20 years, it's beyond the secrecy date, right? I can talk openly about that about 20 years later. 20 years ago, UBS literally invested millions in a content management system, only to realize that multilingual content rendering, which you need in Switzerland, is a fiendishly difficult, way more difficult than on a piece of paper it looks like, and B, is not a bank USP, right? Mm-hmm. A bank doesn't join with multilingual content rendering. That's when they went at the time to Day, and eventually Day became Adobe Web Experience Suite, right? And today I have that déjà vu. This whole Gen AI stack, this whole AI elements, they look so simple to use. It's so enticing. It's the new shiny object. Right? Everybody can get going. And frankly speaking, it's fiendishly tough. People, you know, Tom, you've been in that business for a long time. The group people obviously has been in a long time in that. And I want to follow up on your brilliant point. Some of the things one should internalize. Some, which are specific to the company. But the whole ground layer is, my view, don't do the déjà vu from 20 years ago.
No, but internalizing doesn't mean doing it yourself. I mean, we work with Google, with Salesforce, you know, I mean, we don't program the things ourselves, we put the tech stack together. Mm-hmm. That's different I'm not going to build my own.
That's why I say. That's why I say.
Okay.
It's a brilliant point. It's a brilliant point you make, because what UBS at the time did, instead of going, eventually they became sane and they built Quotes, which was the second in Switzerland real-time access to stock market data. It still exists today. And you cannot buy that from a vendor. That is specific to the bank. So what you made, the point you make about being able to pragmatically, as an example, render content for your catalogs, which is scope specific, that makes much sense to have the capacity to do that inside. But the whole underlying tech stack, it's a waste of time.
So I would like to, obviously, coming from the agency side, relativize a little bit that statement before. While I do absolutely agree to point one, you need to understand which data you absolutely need to own. From a strategic point of view, 100%. Point two, build up resources that also your technology partner has someone to have an eye-level discussion. Also agree with that. The role of an agency over the past years clearly has changed, to also becoming responsible to drive innovation for companies like yours. I don't know how many times you can send your people over to Silicon Valley or to other workshops or broaden their digital marketing horizon because they also see different verticals and players, right? So this is the way the collaboration also between advertisers, larger advertisers and agencies has evolved, right? So the traditional media plan and media booking, that's one part. But the more interesting part is that you're tapping into an ecosystem where you have actually a partner that helps you to get some kind of sense in this increasingly complex environment. And this is important. Now, GTP you might say, you become more efficient. The first, it will become more complex, your world. So I've been in this world now, industry for 25 years, and we're still not in a paperless office. We still are tackling with all kinds of technical issues all the time. That is a standard, right? But the true challenge is to really understand how can you incorporate this evolution into your company structure.
But would you agree that it is absolutely key for each and every agency right now, and no agency I know of, especially no media agency, we are talking about the big ones, right? The international big media networks, they're all investing heavily right now in creativity, building up creative teams.
In AI, and creativity in AI.
Not only in AI.
So the media agency is building up creativity.
The media agency are entering the field of creativity, of creative production.
Absolutely.
And this is the key, because this will differentiate, as you said. So the creative, let's say, stack, the creative idea, that will differentiate what. And this will be the main differentiator for agencies.
I mean, the topic on creative agencies, that they will find themselves somewhat in more rough seas than before. I totally agree with that, right? But again, creativity, and this is, I think, one of the interesting parts. If we're talking, yes, of course, about tracking, we need to understand the upper funnel, but at the end of the day, you want to sell products, right? So the profile of a marketeer or an advertiser has, over the past years, changed dramatically, right? Where you before had, up here you had the creativity, and down here you basically had a little bit the technological know-how, and this has changed like that, right? So the marketeer today, he needs to understand, if we talk about tracking codes, if we talk about codes in general and all of that, and how does it actually interlink into your ad stack, and how can the data from the ERP interact with your ad stack that then creates a dynamic ad that can be communicated then to the user, and then all information fed back, right? So that is, I think, where the challenge is. So I think there are many different moving parts, and I think it's an interesting discussion. Yeah.
And Marcus, just give Patricia a second, because I looked at her simply because I cannot imagine, that a bakery with like 8 affiliates or whatever, you know, talking about a classical small, maybe medium business, can actually manage all this stuff that you guys are talking about, right?
Yeah.
So what is, from a simplicity standpoint, your take on it?
I would come from a philosophy point about marketing, right? So for me, marketing is to touch the customer, right? So it's not about creativity, so it's about understanding the customer. And usually, the smaller the company, the better they understand the customers. But what is the differentiation to enterprise companies? They have a lot of budget. They have these poor resources, what smaller companies can't do, right? And I think this is somehow, I come to the point, it's a game changer because smaller companies can reach their customers in a professional way in the future, or the enterprise will never reach because of timing, about creativity, about understanding the customer. And I think this is somehow, it's just now, I want to get a little bit another perspective here. It's about the customer getting closer, faster. Marketing is all about timing, right? And about getting the right messages, brand and product. And usually, you know, when you have a startup, it costs so much money to do marketing, right? And this is the point where I think AI will help quite a lot of companies to help in this budget problem to come closer. And then I think this is, I just want to get another perspective, right? Because I think it's not about data. It's not about creativity. In the end, marketing is about the customer.
As it always was, yeah, or has been. When you actually, Markus, when you tried to actually get your AI chatbot running, you know, taking care of probably 85% of all the inquiries of your customer and so on, do you feel like this has brought you much closer to the customer? Much closer to, you know, maybe also upselling that customer, you know, taking problems away, and maybe also trying to get insurance a little bit more emotional?
I would say in a very, very small piece of customer requests, because the number of people who actually are open to talk over such a chatbot tool with us is very limited. So what we more try to do, it's actually similar like with SMEs. How can we give a better learning experience about AI to small teams? Because we have a good data infrastructure built, it since years, but how can we enable the teams to better use it? To use AI models, to experiment, to be more agile. So we launched a program within the company across all 10,000 employees, Fit for AI, where we try to, on one side, show how does it work technically, but also what kind of tools are already available and are you allowed to use. So now we, for example, have claims handling people who were used to do it in a particular way since years. We try with them, could there be an alternative? And now we want, for example, for small claims that they are solved with AI, that it goes within seconds and not for days that you need to wait for an answer. And the actual teams that have the knowledge about these customs and what they really need, it's better if they can do it instead of a more centralized team that has no clue about the customer need there.
Allow me a quick, I know Thomas has a very important thing that he wants to talk about now, but allow me a quick deviation on, you're talking about your employees also, your colleagues and so on and so forth. Could it be that they also feel like you know, their job is on a certain, you know, danger, so to speak, or on the edge? I was going to say on the edge, so to speak, right?
Absolutely.
Is it, and you know, we know all these obstacles, right? Is it something that you feel in your company, something, or also at COP and so on?
That's what I wanted to say is, I mean, we've been talking about communications. Communications is one part of the marketing, right? I mean, marketing is a bit bigger, and I believe for us, the strongest marketing point we have is our personnel. I mean, our people they are the biggest differentiator. You have to train them properly. So when we've been talking in the past about generative AI, that's about the communication part, maybe also e-commerce part. But I mean, our business, you have people there working in your insurance, and we have in our stores, we have the people. And if you talk to our customers, so many of them will tell you, this person at this cashier is so fantastic. Or I got help in the stores from this person. They never communicate with us about, you had a great advertising campaign, right? So to marketing, there's much more, and I think many other aspects of marketing are not that much touched by AI.
But it's a very good question, if I may answer it, because we have...
also with a little input from my side, people in your company, do they see AI as a boss, a colleague, or maybe a subordinate?
So I just had an interesting experience actually this week, because as you guys know, there are more and more demands for marketing and communications output. So we have more and more work. But of course, resources, as everywhere, is limited. So what we try to do now, instead of just, I need an FT more here or there, we try to involve them in the discussion and ask the question, could AI solve this problem? So the communications department this week just came and said, we treat AI as our colleague. Maybe it will become their boss one day, but at least now they see it. Exactly. But now they see it as a support, and I really like it. Which tools can they use that supports their work? And I think that's the way to go for the moment.
What I find very interesting right now when I look at my job is, like, I work for a tech company. Technology, AI is the core of our product, as I already said. But we right now, for 2024, in our plannings, we are focusing on what are the cultural moments, at least here in the DACH region, where our clients are in. So we know, for example, that lots of Swiss companies are investing in Zurich Street Parade, or in this hilarious Schwingerfeste, or whatever. And we look, how can we, as TikTok, it would be my dream case to have a TikTok Schwinger event somewhere, live streamed on our platform and live, because communication in the end is about engaging with your customers via emotions, right? And when you do this only on your mobile device or on your digital touch point, right, it will get boring at one point. We are now looking, how can we use the cultural impact also our platform has right now? Name me a music star that was born over the past 2 years that was not born on TikTok, right? And we look, how can we make this cultural impact that TikTok has accessible for our customers? And how can we cooperate on cultural moments? Maybe IAA, the Auto Exposition show in Germany that was 2 weeks ago, or the Schwingerfeste in Switzerland. And this is very interesting for us.
And before we go to the audience, because I'm sure that many of you have questions, but please go ahead.
I think that job piece is a bit of a plain speak moment, right? AI will kill jobs in the tens of thousands, full stop. Full stop. Now, is that bad or is that good? I came the other day across, and if you ping me in the break or so, I'll send it to you. I came across a little leaflet from about 100 years ago, where the Guild of movie musicians was complaining about the fact that in the moment you brought text to movies, because the original movies were not spoken over, right? It was essentially a movie with music. And the Guild of movie musicians complained loudly that this is so bad that you have now spoken over movies, that the whole cultural context will be lost of the movies, that the whole cultural meaning of the movies will be lost, and that movies will never be the same. Last was true. Everything else was not true. We cannot imagine, except La La Land a couple of years ago, which was one in a generation movie. Today, if you go to movies, simply to listen to music, even if it's on TikTok, right? And what it did is, yes, indeed, many of those movie musicians lost their jobs. That's the plain speak moment. But at the time, the movie industry today, including the modern versions of it, like social media, movie programming, is bigger than ever. So the net effect of actual job creation just in that segment is multiple times what it was 100 years ago. But it is different than 100 years ago.
But
and that will happen.
The Hollywood authors are on strike right now. You know
They
that,
have
right?
resolved that, you know that. Have resolved it 2 days ago, including the AI piece attached to it.
Guys, thanks so much. I just look exactly where there is also questions from the audience. You raised your hand. Yeah. I give you the microphone, otherwise the guys on the online screen cannot see or cannot hear you.
Thank you. Marketing is not just about marketing communications. And what we heard in most of the discussion here is about how do we improve the Marcom aspect, how we improve the impact on consumers. I'm wondering how the technology can help the other facets, if at all, of marketing, talking about market analysis, segmentation, product market fit, and all the other stuff that is so important.
Data?
Data,
Yeah.
Yeah, it's happening.
So, you know, I think, so first of all, I think it's, I strongly agree to, you know, also the point that at the end of the day, you're talking to a person that should buy a product or is interested in one or the other topic. Increasing the efficiency by better understanding what the customer is actually looking for, being more on on track with your product development, that you do not invest millions of dollars or Swiss francs to push a product into the market that nobody really is interested in. Seeing an evolution on how to do market and product research, I think they are all part of that, what, you know, we're trying to address here and trying to make smarter decisions, right? So I always joke about that sadly the madman days of marketing are over. So I think they were a lot more fun. Nowadays it's a lot of scientists, scientific work. It's a lot of data. You also have to be open for venturing into unknown, right? So I always said the DNA of a digital marketer today is a solid mix between a Indiana Jones, a Yoda, and a Captain Kirk. Shake it real well, and then you have your digital marketer. So the scientific aspect to also try to understand the user and the product market fit, I think is super important.
And therefore I think
Other tools, other implementations of AI that address these parts of the profession?
Well, I believe product development will be pretty difficult to challenge that with AI. Market research, for sure. It's a lot about analytics and data analysis. It can help you greatly in interpreting your data, which you get, and also I think in market research will have a great impact as well.
So you know, my favorite tool still, and yes, I'm been around and also, you know, working for many years at Google. I still find the Google search queries as a very interesting market research tool. Just imagine, do you want to invest in vanilla ice cream or strawberry ice cream? Look at the search data, what product is more searched for. And maybe that gives you a hint on what the market is interested in. So, you know, I think there are creative ways also around to try to better understand the market desire.
That would not be AI.
That would not be AI, but actually there is also an AI element, I'm sure, that we probably don't even.
But I think in all the topics you mentioned, there are already tools out there that use AI and try to solve this solution. I just mention one that we use for customer sentiment. Is called Chattermill. So it clusters all the feedback we get from clients, and also clusters it, is it a positive, neutral, or negative, and we even can input if something is clustered wrong, and it keeps learning and clusters it the right way the next time. So across all languages, something we wouldn't been able to do these days manually with
And from a market researcher standpoint, because I was, poor guy, me, working for many years in market research, when you get back, 4 or 5,000 questionnaires and you have to do all the analytics, you're so happy to talk to the data, right? To talk to an AI engine, making sure, the outliers are, evaporating somewhere, and there is a software that learns all the time when you work with that data. I would be in dreamland at that time, right? Now I can rely on AI. So anyway, further questions? Let me give you the microphone. And again, I'm sorry, ladies first, and then you give it to your left.
Just to continue, my neighbor, question. How do you see AI will enhance the customer experience or consumer experience? Because Patricia mentioned consumer is the boss, right? And all communication which you are building, it's to attract people. Yeah. But there is also lots of discussion, build the awareness, and also retain your existing customers, right? So to understanding them.
So for me, it was an emotional point in this discussion when I think we all came to the point that AI brings us closer to the customer, right? Because I think after you summarized it, I think it was, yes, I think here we agree. And therefore, I think that's out of all the discussions, I think everything is right. But, if I'm in a long time, with my B2B software, I was always taking care about product experience, customer experience, right? And in the end, it's about getting the right targeting philosophy or the right content for the customer, right? But if it comes to a point, so usually campaigns which are focusing really on the target group are really successful. But in the past, I remember BMW was doing a leasing campaign, so for leasing cars, and they had in their database the cars. They knew this customer had a leasing car, it was red, it was this model. They did it with an agency. They were so great in the numbers what they sold after this very specialized campaign for the customers, because they saw their campaign, their name, their car, and it was great success. But 7 years ago, they said we will never do it again, because it was so horrible for everybody to do it. The success was there, but they said we will never do it again, right? But this was not in the AI time. So I think this is a nice example where you can do this creative process with the help of AI to get customer to come closer to your customer in the creative process.
We have one question left, and that's the gentleman to your left, exactly.
Thank you. I have a question about, I believe 5 years ago or 4 years ago, there were elections in the US, and Facebook was kind of challenged that, the echo chambers they have. I mean, you mentioned a little bit, I see, or you watch me what I do, and you show me the next best entertaining thing. But that's echoing what I'm doing.
I'm not watching you.
No, not watching me, but your algorithm. And as such, I also read that I believe OpenAI is Republican, is Democrat, and BART is Republican. So the question is, how much in that do you believe is really the algorithms just basically, doing a little bit where the inventors try to pick or get the people behind, compared to, is it really creative, or is it just an enhancer? What are you doing?
If I may answer or try to answer this question. So we were talking tonight about the impact of AI on marketing, right? What you are bringing up right now is a totally different thing because in the end we have to talk about also the regulatory side of AI, right? And this is something that needs to improve rapidly. So from governmental side, the discussion on how do we regulate AI needs to be done rapidly. At least on our platform, political advertising will not be allowed. Is not allowed and will not be allowed over the next election. So there is absolutely no way of politicians advertising themselves, for example, on our platform, whether it's with the help of AI or not, right? Because I think we all know what happened during the last elections by misusing data, in the end, right?
Can I maybe ask a follow-up question?
Real quick, because I know on the online world that's been watching us for way more than an hour. We need to come at the end, and everything else we can do upstairs. But once you want to put a last topic to it,
because at the end of the day, the two last questions, it's a matchmaking exercise between what the people produce and what the consumer's needs is. And about this topic, politics, how do you deal with media articles and stuff? Because you cannot block them, so they will be still working on your platform.
Good question.
So like, let's say you have the New York Times or you have, I don't know, Fox News
it's not
or
only
whatever.
about advertising, is what
Yeah,
he's
it's
saying,
not
but-
just about politicians. Everything is politics. How do you address this issue? If it's possible, I don't know if it's possible at all. I don't have the answer.
When we are talking about, okay, you mean like New York Times or so you have this
like
special filter,
let's
but
say you have left wing or
in
right
the end,
wing or
in the end,
whatever.
the biggest team working at TikTok is not engineers, it's not my or our sales team, it's the trust and safety team. So they are people fact-checking 24/7 what's going on the platform. With the help of AI, by the way, right? There are different filter levels, like the algorithm people, and there is always room of improvement, but we publish a transparency report every quarter, and the platform is 99 point something percent, 99.8% safe. When you believe to the data, but this is still room for improvement until it's not 100% safe.
Okay, we take you on that, Mirko.
Absolutely.
So,
Absolutely.
And again, you know, my boss is telling me, so we are at the end of at least telling the online story. For everything offline, again, we probably have, what is on the next floor or the floor above? Tom knows it probably way better. Is it 2 stairs above, or is it 1?
Just
here.
up the stairs.
Then we have an apero-ish, and this one also got sponsored. So we are very happy about, by the way, also Mirko. Talking about politics now, probably, sponsoring the apero. Enjoy the evening, do mix and merge and ask questions to our panelists that were probably no longer possible aufgrund the timing issue. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Big applause. And also thank you so much for coming. And again, you're happily invited to upstairs. Thank you. Bye-bye.